Hey guys, and welcome back to the South Texas Football Unlimited High School Football Show, the Coastal Bend's first podcast slash webcast. Uh, it's been a pretty eventful week. Seems like it's been a while, right? We recorded on Sunday. Oh man, Justin's gone, so I guess I'm gonna have to wing this for a little bit. So Justin got some new equipment today, and he's flying by the seat of his pants. It just came in the box right before we went to air, and he's still trying to figure everything out. So it's been a while, right? I think we recorded on a Sunday because we were hitting nights. So we kind of got everything early and missed everything that kind of happened during the week. So our plan for this week's show is we're going to rehash a couple of games from last week. Talk about some surprises that happened last week, and then we're going to try to introduce some highlights that we got this week. We solicited you guys for highlights last weekend. We got a few. So thank you guys for sending your stuff in. Our whole point is just to highlight you guys. So again, thanks for sending that stuff in. And we'll look ahead at next week. And we got a couple of good games on the docket for next week. Not really big ones as far as big schools, but some of these smaller schools and some of these schools that we may see in the playoffs in some of the areas. And we'll talk about some of the schools in the Valley that turn some heads this weekend that we will be seeing in district play. Justin, are you back yet? No, he's not back yet. Just take all your stuff off, dude, and go back gorilla style and go with your microphone and stuff. It's been a pretty interesting week. I'm just gonna fill time right now until this guy comes in. So at work, okay, he wants me to restart. So we're gonna have to go through this all over again. We're not gonna restart. Just log off and log back in. We'll let you back in. We'll figure it out. Hang on. I gotta text this guy because he cannot hear me at all, I guess. Okay, there he goes. Yes, Ponch. He's very serious right now. He just got his stuff. I'm telling you guys, he just got his stuff, and he's all like a kid at Christmas. He wants to get it to work, doesn't have the instructions, and it's not working. Are you okay? Can you
Yeah, no, we're good. I don't
Okay.
know. We had a setting in there. I don't know what happened. We'll try it for next week. Who cares?
Okay, that's what I told you. Okay. So
All
he's
good.
back, right? So I was about to get into the toilet situation at work just to buy time. I'm like trying to dance around like a clown right now, trying to figure everything out. Uh anyways, like I was saying, we'll talk about what happened last week, our game of the week. And it was all cross-eyed. Yeah, bomb. That's it. He's oh man, we're getting into the comments early. Man, Spud, we were at separate games last week. I went to GP Cal Allen, or I'm sorry, Flower Bluff Cal Allen, which was our game of the week. And Spud went to GP Victoria East, right?
Yeah, East, Victoria East.
And I also went to Odom at Mathis on Thursday. As you guys know, I'm an Odomite. And man, if you guys watched that on the CW or on Real Sports Live or 364 Sports, that was probably one of the better games on the weekend as far as excitement wise went. It was kind of pretty slow in the first half, and it just kind of the floodgates as far as scoring opened up in the second half, and then you had a big miscue at the end of that one, right? And Mathis got away with that one, 28-22. Odom starts 0-3 for the first time since 2018. That was Coach Huerta's first year, and it's kind of the same team. He inherited a young team that year, and he's kind of rebuilding this year with a young team this year, still trying to figure out how to win. So that was a heartbreaker for the home fans. Ethan Yabata from Mathis, the guy's a stud, man. He's number one, and he's a load to bring down. And then they've got
Well, he went for 234 yards on 23 carries. I think he had 3 touchdowns, right?
He did. He had all their touchdowns. Actually, he had 3 of the 4. The other one was Xavier Velis, who's a defensive end / converted fullback. The kid's he looks like Juggernaut. If you ever watched X-Men, that's what he looks like in his pads and his helmet. I mean, the guy, you can't bring the guy down. I just started calling him Flash and Thunder because that's what it looked like, man. But yeah, Ethan had the majority of the carries and the majority of the yards. And man, he's as good as advertised. So the Pirates, they're in a tough district up north, right? They're up there with Industrial, Edna, Palacios, whatever you want to call it. And it's a tough district. So it's going to be interesting to see how Mathis progresses in that district. And I think London's in that district now too, who's kind of struggling and trying to find their way with a 1-2 record. Yeah, they lost a close one to Orange Grove, 20-18. So the Bulldogs bounce back, right?
Yeah.
The other big game of the weekend, which was had a rowdy ending, was Ingleside Rockport Fulton. Right, so Ingleside's down early, and they scored 21 points straight in the first half to take a 3-point lead going into halftime, and then get outscored by the Pirates in the second half, 14-7. We talked to Luke. You guys know we're friends with Coach Seibert's brother. We work with him, so Luke always has a lot to say. What did you hear from Luke, Justin?
Man, it's just been kind of the same run, right? As the defense has been kind of suspect to give up some points and yards and whatnot, but they came up with some big stops, and I went and looked at stats on it. They outscored Ingleside 14-7 in the fourth, and that 7 from Ingleside came in like the last minute or so when they were in a 2-minute hurry up. I think they were already down at that point by like 12 or 13 points, and then big win for Rockport. I read the article on Jay. He said that was a huge win for that locker room. So they go to 1-2, right? Ingleside 2-1. I still think it's a very good Ingleside team. To me, that's a good win for Rockport. Ace Seibert, 2 TDs, 83 yards in the air, and then Devin Phillips. He was the other big player for them. He had like 106 yards on the ground, or all-purpose yards, and then 3 touchdowns as well. So that was a much-needed win for the Pirates.
They also had a punt return in that one. So the Pirates' offensive yardage, they really didn't have a lot of yards. A lot of short fields is what I got from it. And I think they had a punt return for a touchdown and maybe a long kick return or vice versa. It's either a kick return for a touchdown or a punt return that was very close for a touchdown. So they got in that way. So the Pirates, they get their first win, and that one proved me wrong. I thought Ingleside was going to run away with that one just with the way they had been beating people. So is Rockport just starting to find their way? What is it? Just like our title says, right? We think I'm still lost. I don't know who's good right now and who's not.
I think so. I think you look at Rockport's schedule so far. You lost to Miller, who right now arguably is the best team in the Coastal Bend.
Yeah.
35-14, I believe, in that game. Obviously,
Yeah.
it seemed pretty lopsided throughout the whole game, but still, they played probably the best team in the Coastal Bend right now, at least the hottest team. They came out and played Sinton, which that's been a rivalry the last couple of years. And Sinton's got a really stingy defense this year. So if there's one bright spot for me, it's Sinton's defense, right? So they had a hard time moving the ball there. And then, of course, it seemed like the defense from Rockport's still trying to find their identity as well. And they kind of get a lot of pop yards to Sinton. And if you talk to Luke and people that were at that game, it just seemed like Rockport was almost giving them way too much cushion and let Sinton work with a lot of stuff. So I think Rockport's going to be just fine, honestly, moving forward in the season. I think they got a favorable district. I think they have a favorable matchup this week, which we'll get to. And then, obviously getting a big win over Ingleside, who to me is one of the more improved teams in the Coastal Bend. They're starting to do more than just run the ball. They're putting it in the air. So I think this is a good win for Rockport. I don't think this is a horrible loss for Ingleside. So I think both teams moving forward, it's going to be good. And I think Rockport is starting to find a little bit of a groove, get that offense going and whatnot. They have a lot of kids that this year are kind of stepping up and first-time players, on varsity level. So they graduated pretty heavy last year, I think. So positive moves for the Pirates.
Yeah, I think so. But again, you brought up some valid points, and we've always said it, right? Jay likes to score hard, likes to schedule hard, right? Michael E. Ingleside played weaker opponents the first two. I can't read that.
The first 2 weeks.
First 2 weeks, record was deceiving, and it could be, but I mean, they put up 40+ points each game, right? And
sure.
And jury's still out, right? Because Odom put on a pretty good performance. They were able to score. They played to it. I mean, the defense held in the first half, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I guess, right? We'll see as things go forward.
You definitely see it.
So another little eye catcher here. Rancis Pass and Skidmore Tynan. Rancis Pass got their first win since October 16, 2020. It's pretty wild.
Huge.
Pretty wild, right? And
I didn't see AP winning that game, to be honest with you, going into the weekend. Of course, we haven't really been making picks and whatnot this year, which I'm going to start getting into, I think. It just seems gives a little more edge, right? But no, I didn't see AP winning this game. I think that was obviously it's beneficial for that program to get the kids motivated to keep coming out for football, right, and stay active in the program. But hey, Georgia Costa, though, we got to touch on him, right? He was the Caller Times Player of the Week last week. Comes in this week and gets 30 carries, and he makes 303 yards with it. So Georgia Costa is the seems to be the man over there in AP right now.
Yeah, he has a school record 303 yards and 6 touchdowns.
That's
I,
oh,
I
TDs. I didn't see the TD part.
Yeah, and I
Cool.
think 4 were greater than 45 yards, 40, 45 yards. So, guy was a
Yeah,
workhorse, man. So, maybe that's a spark that they needed, right? You get that first win and you start moving forward, right?
for sure.
So, and again, I mean, they're in a tough district as well. I think they're in that don't make me lie to you. Don't make me lie to you. Are they in that district up north as well?
Rancis Pass. Oh man, I have my paperwork somewhere with them in it, but I'd have to track that down.
Somebody help us
I
out. Keep
want to leave
talking. I'm
that.
gonna pull it up.
We had technical difficulties so far with the show, but okay, I guess while you're rolling right now, yeah, right. Oh, that's
I know,
horrible.
right? It's us, right? That's us.
Typical, man. We were on time, and then here we go. So
I
no,
know.
just a quick note on that game with Skidmore. Though I was just jotting down some notes earlier, and Sonny Man was 11 of 21, 225 yards passing. So that's a little bright spot right there for the Bobcats. And then I think Skidmore's got a lot to look forward to throughout the year. They've always had in past years, pretty good programs, but they're in a pretty tight district with the Referios and the Shiners and Ganado, who's having a good year right now. So that's just something we ought to, kind of keep an eye on for them as they move forward. I think if you're being honest here, you're looking at trying to find a groove and get that fourth spot in that district, which is going to be extremely tough.
Yep. So Aransas Pass is in that North District with Edna, Goliad, London, Mathis, Palacios, and Vanderbilt.
That's another
So
that's a
that,
very competitive district.
that's a tough district, right? So it's going to take a lot for Aransas Pass to try to break that playoffs. But a little bit at a time, right? You chip away. Who's got the best looking O line in our area so far this season? Who do you think, Justin?
That's tough. That's tough because I haven't really been out. I've only seen GP Cal Island live. I've seen. I saw Rockport live. I've seen who else did I see live? I don't know. Beyond honestly, what when we talked about today, what you want to throw that out there since someone brought up O line? What we're talking about doing?
Oh, well, we've got a little idea, right? We're just trying to get gimmicky, I guess, right? We're just trying to do something. So we want to start giving out an offensive line award as a group, right? See who the best offensive line performer was for the week. We're still trying to figure out the criteria for that, right? I mean, we're just kind of working it. But there's one thing. There's one thing I want to show y'all that would give you a leg up if you guys pull it off. I gotta find it. Yeah. The guys from Marion, and they're not even South. They're on the very fringe of South Texas, right? And that's Marion, the Bulldogs. Those guys. Let me see if I can find it here. I'm digging, but they've actually got some very impressive numbers as an offensive line group. But they broke it down. They were in the state lineman challenge and competed there. I don't know how they finished. I don't remember, but here we go. Where are we? Here we go. Coach Hill. I'm going to share a screen here with you guys for a little bit. Let me pull this up. Tab. Here we go. I'm going to pull this up real quick if you guys can still hear. So I asked for some more information on Lyford Marion, because if you guys remember, we want to do a video with the offensive linemen. The big uglies don't get a lot of love, right? So we figure we want to give some info on these guys. So we want to try to do something a little different. So this right here, this will get you a leg up. All right. I want to see some action like this, right? Let's see you guys. These guys tacos, man. You got to love it.
Those are some skinny bigs.
They are, but if look at that, they can put it down though.
For sure.
Pancake
trophy would be cool.
Yeah, demolishing 30 pounds of fish qualify for back-to-back state lineman challenges. This unit's family, no doubt, absolutely video worthy, in my opinion. Just they hate RPOs. It's run first in their minds.
Love it.
So you get us some action like that, man. There's a pancake trophy. They've got one already, Sid. I think, did I show that? Did you see that, Justin?
No, I did not.
Okay, I'll pull it up again real quick. So let me share screen again real quick. Richard, say this new studio is fucking sweet. Sorry.
All right.
There it is, man.
2 for 2.
Yeah, you can't beat that, right? I guess.
It's pancakes with syrup on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, Chance Vernon, GP, stand up, right? You would know more about that. All right, so let's jump into our game of the week last week, Cal Island Flower Bluff. So I was at that game, and in the first half, Flower Bluff's defense came to play. They were holding Epi and company in check pretty well, but the breakout performer in that first half was that in that game was the quarterback.
Burnett.
Yeah, Bryce Burnett, number 5. If you guys haven't seen him, he's quick. He's got a nice pass for a running team first. They did very well. He opened it up in the first half, threw a touchdown pass, ran for one. Actually, just threw the touchdown pass and a couple field goals. They got a big boy back there kicking field goals, number 64.
I've seen him.
Yeah, and man, it was kind of nerve wracking there for a little bit watching those guys, but man, they got it done. And in the second half, I think they were just tired, man. You know, Cal Allen did their Cal Allen thing. They came out, made their adjustments, and man, they just wore him out. They wore him out. Epi finally broke loose, and he finished, I think, with 172 yards. Bryce finished with about 126 in the air, I think,
Yeah.
and 2 touchdowns.
Well, they had 500
Uh,
total offense in that game. 500 yards of total offense.
yes, they did have 500 yards of total offense. I wrote that down somewhere.
Which I penciled in. So when I was looking at today, I penciled in, right? They had they gave up two. So they put up 500, gave up 202 yards, right? 65 was on the ground from the bluff. So if you follow the bluff, the last couple of years, they've had some really talented running backs come through lately. And if you watch their offense, man, they benefit really greatly on the run, right? It opens a lot of their passing game up for them. So it seemed like Cal Allen did the same thing to Portland when they played. When I watched them live, they stifled that run enough to where it made them uncomfortable, and they got kind of pass heavy, and then they kind of started dropping coverage on them and mixing it up. And when you got a lot of young kids like the Bluff does on offense right now, I mean, it gets confusing.
And I think that's what's got Flower Bluff right now is that they're so young. You know, Jaden Paseo, the quarterback, and Cameron Dixon, who's the brother of Johnny Dixon, who's at Virginia Tech right now, and I guess he's starting. He got an award up there this week for the Hokies. Yeah, so I mean, he comes from an athletic family. He's very good. His mom's in the Navy. If you guys hadn't seen that story from the Caller Times last year when Johnny was making the rounds, so she's gone a lot. So he's had to grow up pretty fast, and man, he's blossoming into something great against Bernie in week 1. I think he had an interception return for a touchdown. So he's a heck of an athlete, just very raw. We posted a video of him last week where he made just an excellent catch over a defender, and I think I have it on Twitter. Keep going with your thoughts, Justin. I'm going to see if I can find it.
There's not a whole lot more you can talk about in that game, but you are right. Flower Bluff is very inexperienced right now, and I think they're working through some growing pains in that realm. But they have a couple good kids coming back. I can't for the life of me, I cannot think of his name. He's offensive lineman. It's oh gosh, I want to say it's Dylan, right? Man, he's actually being recruited by some D1s. He was kind of the leftover after Dickinson moved on, but he comes back with experience on the O-line. So I think as the season goes forward, again, Bluff's got a favorable district as well. They're going to improve. Coach Steinbrunk and his group always seems to get those kids going, and they start rolling towards the end of the year. So I still think that GP matchup for probably more than likely district will be a pretty good little square off.
Yeah. So there's a question on here. I know it's kind of jumping out of the reins a little bit, but yeah, I think Flower Bluff will be okay as they move on, just because they're getting young and they're going to get used to playing together, and they'll get better as the weeks go on.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'll have any problems. Cal Allen just played very well. I think that was their most complete game so far of the season. Against GP, they really couldn't do a lot against GP. They didn't have I think it was maybe 200 and something yards of offense that game.
I think what goes on I don't even maybe not go overlooked. Honestly, GP's got a really good defense this year, and they've done a really good job of containing some of these offenses. So, and that's game 1, right? But Cal Allen's defense, I think, if when we'll talk on that more when we get to the Cuero matchup this week, but that's to me the bright spot for Cal Allen is how well that defense is, or how good that defense is, and then obviously Coach Campbell, he's coached the defense there for the last 30 plus years, so right off the bat, the pedigree there is going to be defense first and offense. So
yeah. So, you kind of mentioned it already. Actually, let's. Is that you? Who's making that beeping sound?
I don't know.
Sounds like somebody's at the door, but they're not showing up here yet. We got a special guest coming on in a little bit. If you guys hadn't seen the tweet, just to kind of talk about some Central South Texas football here in a little bit when we get to our next week stuff. But I don't want to let some of these comments get away. Ben Christina Galvan, do you think Banchetti might, in quotes, be a sleeper team in 3A? That's kind of tough to tell. Banchetti's had they're 3-0, and they're actually playing Three Rivers this week, the battle of 3-0 teams, and somebody's going to leave with a loss. Three Rivers playing very excellent football right now.
They're three and
But
well, correct.
yeah, they are 3-well. They've got a quarterback who's very stout back there. We heard nothing but good things. Sammy, we needed a little more than he's a good kid. We need a little more than that. We were hoping for a little more. So, some of these teams, they don't get a whole lot of write-ups, and there's not a whole lot of newspapers up there. So we couldn't really find a whole lot of information on Three Rivers. So you Three Rivers guys, send us some stuff. Sammy, you're slacking. But yeah, so they beat Freer 22-12 week 1, SGA 36-0, and Fremont 30-21. I think Fremont was finally the first challenge that they've had. So it's tough to tell whether they're going to be a sleeper or not. It isn't the strongest preseason schedule. They've got Three Rivers, and they jumped to Monte Alto right after. And then Hebbronville, who's having a very down year this year. Talking to some of those guys from Hebbronville, they think this may break the streak of consecutive playoff appearances down there. And then they played George West, who's been up and down, right? They 1-9 last year, and they're 1-2 right now. And then they get into the meat of the schedule late October, Odom, Taft, and Santa Rosa. And don't be surprised if Santa Rosa's improved this year. I think Joe, they've got the old Ed Couch-Elsa head coach there. That's there in Santa Rosa now. And very strong run-minded coach. So we'll see how that turns out, how they turned out this year. So Banchetti right now, I don't think they're going to be a sleeper yet. I need to see a little more from them before I say that.
Coin the sleeper.
Yeah. Caden Solis, thank you. Billy or Brian, whoever's running the Sports Network page today, thank you. Yeah, Caden Solis, they actually did a story on him on Channel 6 today. They're spotlighting that game. I don't think it's a Thursday night game, but that should be a good one. So if you don't have anything to do, you don't have any games to go check that one out. That should be a good one and see if they're for real or not. But kind of let's not wait to talk about that last one. Let's go ahead and jump into Cuero, Cal Allen right now. That's kind of on the tip of the tongue. And that's a game that everybody in the state is talking about right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the matchups of both number 4 ranked teams in 4A D1, Cal Allen, and then 4A D2, Cuero. So I've seen. I was able to watch the Cuero and El Campo game, and right off the bat, first thing I come to think of is defense from Cuero this year. They've had stifling defense, just like Cal Allen. But the thing for me is Cuero also has a lot of speed and athleticism out there on the outside of the field, right? So that's something they're going to tend to lean to. So if you look at Cuero, right, they have wins over El Campo, Navarro, and then Yoakum. Average points per game Cuero's putting up right now is 55. Defensively, they're allowing 11 points per game. You jump to the Cal Allen side of the ball, you got 34 points per game they're putting up, and they're allowing about 8 points per game. So just based off the eye test, right, and what I've seen, I'm probably going to be a hater, but I have to lean. I'm going to lean with Cuero, right? This is a team coming off of a very deep run last year. They were a game away from state. I believe they ended up losing to the eventual state champs that last year as well. And they bring a lot of those guys back, right? So they're outfitting a new quarterback. They still have some key pieces at running back, and they're bringing in some guys that replaced LeBron Johnson and and another kid that went to A&M Kingsville in the offseason. But Sean Burks, I've interacted with Sean since probably the end of last year. He reached out to me to put out some of his just the highlights last year. I think he ended up making All-State as a junior. And then he seemed like he put about 15 pounds of solid muscle on this summer. And he was one of the key pieces in slowing down Ruben Owens week 1 in El Campo, and just kind of coming out and saying, hey, Cuero's legit this year again. And that's kind of what started this noise, right, of Cuero. Because they've been the talk the last 3 weeks, right? Before you look at you just look at 55 points a game, allowing 11 against some notable teams. Navarro, Campo, and Yoakum. They're usually perennial powerhouses in their area and in the region. So that is impressive to me. On the other hand, Cal Allen's also starting to seems like they're starting to finally kind of catch that offensive groove. So my opinion on the game is I'm going to take Cuero in a very defensive contest. I think they have just enough to get the job done versus what they've done to date versus Cal Allen. It's kind of hard to judge Cal Allen, right? They
Yep.
picked up the win over GP. Our quarterback got hurt. Then they picked up a win against a team from Mexico. So it's kind of hard to tell exactly what that team brought to the table. And then they steamrolled Flower Bluff. But then at the same time, Flower Bluff's pretty young, and it's like that defense from Cal Allen. They got some seniors in it, and they've been playing really tough. So I'm gonna take Cuero in a great matchup here. I don't think Cal's getting it blown out by no means. I think they're too disciplined of a football team to allow that. But I do think Cuero's athleticism is going to get the best of Cal at the end of the day.
Well, it's the recipe for Cal Allen is ball control, right? I
Yep.
mean, just like they do everybody else. They've played with teams that are faster than them, more athletic with them. They've been able to hang because they can make those defensive adjustments and they can keep the ball away from the playmakers.
Exactly.
Uh, the biggest jump, I think, or the biggest eye popper that starts out with Cuero is their quarterback. Mason Natero has been playing lights out.
Yes.
He's averaging, I think, about 100 and 210 yards passing in a game. And 332 on the ground is what the offense is averaging, and they've got 4 main ball carriers that they spread the ball around, including him. So it's gonna be interesting, right? It's that when you put a rock between a movable thing or whatever. How's that saying go, or something like that? So we'll see, man. I think I'm gonna have to go the opposite with you. I think I'm gonna have to go with Cal Allen on this one, just because I think they're gonna play. I think they can play ball control, and I think they can be able to move the ball around through the air when they need to. Skylar Rubio's turned into a big target early, and they got a tight end, Jake Wolf. I think his name is Wolf's his last name. Nate, I know you're watching. What's his first name? Who's a solid kid, number 34. He made some pretty good contributions last week, made some nice catches. Nothing major, but enough to keep the drive going. I think he had a touchdown as well. I say nothing major.
No, I think he
But
did
I
have
think,
a touchdown.
yeah, I think he had a touchdown, a little drop off.
One of the guys that had
Um, so I think Zay Bryant, Cuero by a couple of tutties. We'll see. But I think I'm going to go with Cal Allen in a close one, just like you said.
keep in mind, it's
We'll,
on the road. It's in Cuero.
Hey, look, there he is, the man himself,
Oh,
Epi Hinojosa, Sean Wolf. Yep, that's his name. Thanks, Epi. I hope you were here earlier. I mean, you had a great game last week. It was good to see you break free in the second half. And I'm not going to lie, that little video I caught you in the end zone, it scared me a little bit. You kind of looked at me a little scary. So,
hmm.
and it's also got a lot of, if you guys haven't seen yet, we've got a TikTok, right? We started the TikTok. So, Epi, that's probably one of our highest viewed videos. So go give us a follow. South Texas Football Unlimited, STFU NLTD. What's that?
It was a solid run. It was a good run. I like the video.
Yeah, it was a good run, and I missed his first touchdown because I was fiddle farting around doing something. And I will say something, and I told you this today at work. My wife noticed something about the Cal Allen team. My wife doesn't watch football at all, and my goddaughter is a cheerleader there at Cal Allen, right? So that was my way of kind of getting to the game without getting the evil eye or the side eye walking out of the house. I was like, hey, let's go watch Maddie cheer. Right. So she was in the stands, and one of the things she noticed, and my wife's a very observant person, that she saw the Cal Allen kids on the sidelines, and they were essentially coaching themselves. And I don't mean that in a bad way. The coaches were drawing something up on the board, and these guys were they know what they need to do. They know how to take care of business. They don't need a coach to tell them what they need to do. And my wife was very impressed with that. And if you look at a sideline in some of these schools and some of these games, a lot of the games, you're having to see these coaches yelling at these kids, telling them where to go. They're out of position and things like that. She didn't see a lot of that. I didn't see, because I was too busy walking around the field getting videos and stuff. But it's impressive, right? It's impressive, and we kind of talked about that today.
Definitely.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Cal Allen on this one in a close one, right? Anything else you want to jump in there with Cuero, Cal Allen? Anybody
No,
else?
I think if you're a fan of football and you're in the general area, you need to go check it out, because it's not every day you see two number 4s in the 4A square off against each other, and both of them have a tremendous history in high school football, especially down here in the Coastal Bend and across the state. So, and both these teams are going to make solid playoff runs this year in 2 different divisions. So you never know, they could be playing 3-4 weeks together deep into the playoffs, and I mean, it's just a good game to go check out before district starts ramping up.
Yep. Tickets are $5
$5.
at the gate.
Best show on
Right?
Friday night you can get to.
Yep, $5 there. And the game will not be streamed. If you guys remember, we talked about it in week 1. The Cuero guys are not streaming the games because they want the fans there at the stadium. If it's streamed, it could be by somebody else, but they're just doing radio. That's their plan. Is their home games they're doing radio, the away games they're going to stream them, and it's a pretty smart idea, right? They want to get their fans in the stands. They want the experience. They want the home field advantage. So double check on that, but I don't think it's going to be streamed. So you're gonna have to get your butts out of there, take the 90-minute drive, and head to Cuero.
Yep.
Let's jump into the surprises of the week.
Okay.
Right. So this is kind of something new, and it is definitely something different, right? So let's start off with, and again, guys, I guess I don't know if you want to call it the curse or the karma is paying off again. Robstown 3-0, right?
3-0.
And 3-0 for the first time since 1997. And I think we talked about that last week. That they had the possibility of going 3-0. Yeah. So, and I think the last time, there you go. Michael E. Cuero streamed their last home game against Navarro. Okay, I guess the guys who were talking in the last stream were. Yep, change of heart. All right, guys. So it could be on there, Gobbler Sports Network or something, right? So look it up. Thanks, Mike. Let's see. Oh yeah. So we got a little something we want to show you guys here, and this was back in August, I want to say. When we were out there, we didn't make very many stops. So let's go ahead and share a screen again. And here we go. Right here.
Came on the ideal pretty late.
Yeah.
Buddy Gage. It's not showing any audio to this, Jacob.
All right, hang on.
For whatever reason.
Let's see. All right, maybe I have to go full screen. So let me go full screen. Let me try this again. All right.
Appreciate it, fellas.
Oh, I closed it. Why is it not going sound? Let's see. Can you hear that? Did you hear that?
No, I didn't pop up on my screen.
Okay, well, let's see if it comes up. All right, let's see.
Hey, well, wait. My buddy Anthony in the chat brought us some of our first caps that we brought out to the people in the audience, right? So True Native Apparel, they do a lot of they do embroidery, custom embroidery hats, anything like that. You need give Anthony Carricker a shout at True Native Apparel.
Yeah, he definitely does good work, man. I know we ordered some caps from him from the Odom Booster Club, and he did great work at a reasonable price too. And the quality is there, especially with embroidery. You want quality. Why would there not be any sound? Hang on.
All kinds of technical difficulties tonight.
I know, man.
First it was my mic, now it's this. Jeez.
All right, it's just not going to work today. I'm not going to keep doing that. We'll figure it out, right?
We'll practice more with that and see what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. So,
anyways, real quick before you bounce off of Robstown, they blast Progresso 50-3, huge win. Total of 400 yards of offense. Derek Silva, the quarterback there, the transfer in from McAllen, right? 14-23, 281, and 3 touchdowns. So I think the people in Robstown have something to get excited about because honestly, it's not very often that Robstown's putting up these kind of numbers, right? And they're coming out 3-0 swinging. So huge matchup tomorrow night against Taft, which I think we'll talk about, but I think I'm gonna try to make it out there. I'd love to see these two square off. So anyways, just something to be proud of for the Robstown fan base. 400 yards total offense. Keep it going, guys.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to here. I will actually show. There's no sound on this, so I can't show this. So here's Derek Silva, the transfer in from McAllen, who's working wonders back there playing quarterback. He's also going both ways. He plays safety on defense, so he's not getting a whole lot of rest. And he came from McAllen Memorial, which is a run-based offense. So he'll carry the load and he'll dish out a hit.
Might need a Robstown hat to go with that red shirt there, Brandon. One of those old school white ones with the red bill and the red R. Yeah. I like hats.
That would have been a touchdown. The kid hadn't
That's
stepped out
impressive,
there.
man. I'm pumped for Gage and I'm pumped for the Robstown fan base because you don't go we don't year 5 and this is probably the most we've ever talked about Robstown the first couple of weeks. I mean, it's awesome. I love seeing it. You like to see teams like this come on and
Yep.
put out good performances because we all want to see the kids in this area do great things. So very impressive start for the Robstown team.
And everybody's on board with it, man. The Caller Times just did a story on it. They interviewed Gage again, guys. If you guys want to see that
Rightfully
interview
so,
with
man.
that we did with Gage, it's a very good one. It's 2 questions, right? That's our little thing, right? 2 questions with South Texas Football Unlimited because we don't try to take up too much time. We know everybody's busy, and he gave it's a very good example or a very good story on how he had to get buy-in from those kids and how hard it was to get it. So we'll post it on our Facebook page here after this, and we'll retweet it again because we put it out when we went out there originally, but it's very good. Vets El Campo. I was dead wrong. Dead wrong. I really thought that Vets was going to steamroll these guys.
So okay? So let me ask you this: so did the real El Campo finally start to play, or are they finally just starting to catch their groove?
Man, I don't know. So,
Oh, Ruben.
Ruben did not play. Ruben did not play, and one of the
Crazy.
things that surprised me here, and I'm going to show you here. This will be the tail of the tape right here. This will tell you how this game went down. Right here. If you guys are watching, this is the secret right here. This is the secret sauce right here. Look at that. Vets outgained him. Not by rushing, but not by much, right? But they outgained him 267 to 255, right? So pretty even.
Yeah.
But there you go. Right there. This right here
Turnovers.
and this right here. There was 2 pick sixes that were returned for touchdowns. You had a fumble that was recovered, and it actually it was not recovered. But that's the big difference there. David, I did see that they still had the same quarterback. We looked at previous film, and it was the same quarterback that started weeks 1 and 2. Ruben Owens did not play. Number 9, who had a very good game, but if you read everything that they were talking about this guy, I mean, you would have thought he ran for 200 yards. He only ran for 89 yards.
I just
Um,
think honestly though, um, the defense for Vets has been always strong, right? But
yep,
they've always had an offense that's equally strong. So to me this year, I just think it's the narrative is the offense is lacking right now, and that's not dogging the kids or anything like that, but the offense is lagging. They if you take away some of the defensive scores and the game, especially in the game against Alice, it's a tight ball game.
yep,
So they've given up the defense has given up 27 and 50 points, but if you watch this offense, it stutters out a lot. And they turn the
yep,
ball over a lot. I mean, they gave up 5 or 6 turnovers to New Braunfels Canyon week 1. You can't do that and win the game. You can't give up 4
yep,
turnovers to El Campo and expect to win, no matter how good your defense is.
yep.
You're leaving them out there to dry, and we've seen it the first couple of weeks with some of these teams that are taking losses. It's just offenses are stalling, leaving these defenses out there on the field way too long, and other teams taking advantage of it. So I think the storyline moving forward definitely should be that hoping to see something a little more progressive for that Veterans Memorial offense if they expect to do anything this year
Yeah.
come playoff time.
One of the things that I forgot to mention, and we talked about this after the Alice game, the Guerrero kid. Man, that guy has thinned out, man. He is solid now. He's still playing defensive end, but that he could be lined up as a linebacker,
He
man.
looks like
He's
Delapena,
thin,
right?
dude.
Dalen.
Yeah, big time, big time.
Yep.
So good on you, man. I mean, you're
Well,
looking good, man.
been around him since he was a freshman on varsity. He's kind of a little chubby little kid with the blonde curly hair, And now
Yeah,
here he is. He's jacked, dude. So
yeah.
very impressive.
So keep an eye on him, man. He's a ball player.
Yep.
So that was a big surprise. The other one, Fast and Furious, 3-0 again, right? I think they put 52 on
Monte Alto.
was it Monte Alto or was it Progresso?
I thought no, it was Monte Alto because Robstown put 50 on Progresso. They
Okay.
put up 50 against Monte Alto. It was 50-29, I believe, was the final in that game.
And these guys were very proud of how they performed. So they've got a quarterback who is Mark Gonzalez, and he actually had a very good game. I'm going to share screen again with you guys because again, we see what happens. You send us stuff and we'll put you out there. So this is Mark Gonzalez, who's the QB1 there, and they've also got Jamarcus Brooks, who can kind of play everywhere. Is their Swiss Army knife.
Brooks or Jamarcus Jones?
Jamarcus Jones. Sorry, Jamarcus Jones.
Yeah, he's like Taysom Hill, man. He had four.
Yeah, and I think that's him right there catching one of his. I think he had like 4 touchdowns,
No,
6
I
touchdowns
got his
that game.
stuff right here because we had him down. We'll get to him, right? He's on one of the outstanding
Yeah,
players.
he's after this one. Yeah, so yeah, and he's actually up for Mr. Texas Football
Yeah, he was a
this
six-top
week.
player this week. He reminds me a lot of the cat from Bremond. Oh man, and I'm not going to go out there and make up a lie, but it was a couple years back when Bremond was making pretty good runs. He was a quarterback, receiver, running back, did a lot of stuff. He ended up going to A&M, and then he ended up transferring on over to Arkansas Central or Central Arkansas, somewhere in there. No, Arkansas State, excuse me. But he was Mr. like two-way player of the year at the time. So
Yeah, so Mark's got pretty nice touch on the ball there, Robbie. We're coming for you, Robbie. Hang on, we'll get there. We'll get there. We got our Central Texas expert waiting in the waiting room right now. And then here is Jamarcus Jones, and this cat he's as advertised, man. And hang on, let's pull the screen up again. Oh, I'll close it. Hang on. I hate dead air. Sorry, guys. There we go. So let's back up here. I think this is about a minute and a half of highlights here. But again, see how he lines up everywhere, and he's fast. He's got cuts. I think he takes this one here to the house.
yeah,
And he's a transfer in this year. I don't know where he transferred from. He doesn't have it on his profile. And but he's a great athlete. Hey, there he is. Groceries checking in.
there he is.
So there's Markey again. See, these two are going to work wonders this year. Look at that.
They're going to be something. They're going to be something for sure because the where the Falfurrias is lining up, right? You got that kind of talent on the field. That's going to be stuff. That's going to be hard to beat down there in that classification of ball.
Oh yeah,
Just putting
yeah.
on like that. Yeah, there you go, Mark Paul, Rashad Paul. There we go.
Okay.
That was
Hey! I think that guy should be doing something else right now instead of watching a stream.
No, he's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. Want to move forward though? The next one, Taft losing to Three Rivers.
Oh,
Week.
that was a surprise. But if you talk to those Three Rivers folks, man, I mean, we are TR, right? You guys still use that slogan down there?
We are
They've been believers. And man, every now and then they'll get a team that pops up to see there's one of his interceptions. So he had like 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions that week. So if you guys have the chance, go out to Dave Campbell's Texas Football and go vote for Jamarcus Jones for Player of the Week.
Player of the Week.
So Taft, I didn't get a whole lot of stuff on there from the Three Rivers games. They have sweet helmets. I don't know if you've seen their chrome helmets. Oh man, dudes in here refused to give Miller credit for stopping Owens. Yeah, he was hurt. He was this. He was that. Right. I mean,
they refuse to give him credit anywhere, Marcus. You know this.
Yeah. Miller's playing lights out defense, man. They are playing very good on defense, and you could use the argument, okay, well they haven't really played anybody. They're playing on teams that are lower classification than them. But I don't know, man. That's who they're playing, and they're doing it, right? They're doing it. We don't have a whole lot to say about Miller this week because they played in Laredo. They played on a Saturday. They got out. They won. They're off this week. Next week they face Ray in the Hall of Fame game, right? That's what it was called. I was digging for it. I couldn't remember what it was called. Reached out to Justin, and Justin, yeah, it's the Hall of Fame game. So they've got that game coming up next week. And I was going to talk, actually, that's actually next, so we can jump into that, right? So Ray is 3-0, number 5 scoring defense and 5A D1, averaging 7 points a game, right? So they're playing pretty well, but they're going to get that tested against that Miller squad, who's very, very athletic and very, very fast.
Yeah. I think, obviously Miller, I said it earlier in the show, I think they're our hottest team, if not the best team in the Coastal Bend right now. So, yeah, we'll see how legit that Ray defense is. I mean, hey, give props to Ray. It's not every day that you get that kind of ranking for your defense. It's very early in the season, but they're playing inspired ball right now. They're stopping people on defense, and they got a huge test in front of them against Miller. Marcus Lavelle coming out with some massive accusations. That's kind of fair. That's the kind of heat we like, right, Marcus? But I'm not going to disagree with you on the lopsidedness but I do want to see Ray put up some kind of a fight, and we'll see how legit that defense is though.
Yeah, it's nice to see Ray 3-0 since the Breckenridge days, right? I
Yeah,
got it.
dude, it's
I
been
got it. Brad Breckenridge.
Brad
And
recommend.
man, those silver uniforms they have are sweet. Sweet. Felipe Esparza, Ray hasn't
That's
scored on Miller
interesting.
for 3 years. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Let's see if they break that streak this year. Taft and Three Rivers. What do you know about Taft? Taft fell apart again second half. They did it against Mathis last week or the week before. And this week it kind of slipped away from them again.
Yeah, I mean the thing with Taft is they should be. I think they should be a 3-0 team right now. And instead, they're going into this game 1-2 this week or tomorrow night, actually, with Robstown. And they have some good players over there. JJ Acosta, he put up, I think he had 14 rushes, 135 yards rushing. He was 30 of 45, 360 yards in the air, and 2 touchdowns. So they have the skill. It's just they're not finishing in the second half. So for me tomorrow, I'm gonna be looking for Taft to try to come out like they've been coming out, and then I would like to see them in the third and fourth quarter continue to work on what they built on in the first half. And then obviously at flip side of the ball, I want to see what Robstown brings. I think you're going to be looking at a high scoring game tomorrow night, so that'll be a fun one.
And it's going to be televised. It'll be on the CW, and I'm pretty sure Taft will stream it as well.
And then really what the last one kind of I think we had jotted down the notes was just that this is more for the 5A D2 crew down here, the GP and Flower Bluff fans. They play Brownsville Porter 3-0, starting off 3-0 down there in the valley.
Yeah,
They
which is
play
a
GP in
huge
3 weeks.
surprise.
They play GP in 3 weeks down in Brownsville. So that's going to be probably one of the Coastal Bend threats, right, for the top spot in this district. So just something that the fans of GP and Flower Bluff should pencil in, because we don't want to overlook these valley schools. Some of them pop
Yep.
up on you every now and then. There's some really tough ones down there right now up in the 6A level. So and some of the 5A D1s. So that's just something to look forward to. They're averaging 32 points a game and only allowing 16. So that's kind of fitting the role of what we got up here as well. So just could be one to mark on the calendar.
There was an interesting. I don't know who put it out. It was last year, the year before. An interesting little quick documentary. I think maybe it was Texas. Well, I don't know who did it, but about just the trials and the things that the Porter kids have to go through. A lot of those kids cross the border to come to school here.
Yeah.
And don't have stuff to practice in and things like that. So it's a very interesting story. I'm going to see if I can find it and I'll retweet it and post it on Facebook later. But it's an interesting watch.
Last time I saw Brownsville Porter in the playoffs was 2004. The year GP was ranked number 1. I think they blasted them like 70. Or no, they blasted them. Not only was 70. That was Vets Memorial down there. They beat them pretty handily, anyways. They had a quarterback that ended up going to A&M Kingsville when A&M Kingsville was slinging the ball around. I don't remember his name. I think we touched on him a couple years ago in a show when Brownsville Porter was having a pretty decent year. So they've had some success in the past and making some runs. So they're someone to watch out for here and there.
And since we're down there, let's talk about the Valley some more. So Lyford is in District 16 3A D1, along with our other teams, San Diego, Falfurrias. Who else is in that district? San Diego,
London,
Falfurrias.
right?
Who's that?
London, right?
No, London's big. London's up north.
Nah,
This is London's small 4A, 3A, big 3A. Wait a minute. I don't know. I'm all
it's a
lost.
lot.
Anyways,
It's a lot.
it's a lot, dude. All these changes with realignment. So in 3 games, Lyford is averaging about 1,700, or they've got 1,700 yards plus of offense in 3 games. We're averaging about 567 yards a game. 2 twins on that team. Quarterback Osmar Martinez, who's got about 450 rushing yards and 200 passing yards, and the running back / wide receiver Oscar Martinez, who's got about 380 and 200 yards receiving. They run a high tempo spread offense, and they were actually a couple of guys that sent us some highlights from last week. Not a whole lot. We've got a couple. But here's Osmar right here. Let's open this up. And it's not. It's a quick thing. So they won the Willacy County Cotton Bowl last week against Raymondville, 14-0. Shut them out. The defense is playing lights out right now. But he's an elusive big kid.
Yeah, he's got some good size on him.
Yep.
Pretty quick too to the outside.
Yep. And that was that one. You got to love a hurdle. And here's Alex Rosales. I think I broke that one. This was kind of to seal the win last week against Raymondville. Just kind of a ball control first down to keep it going.
Hey, there's Jamarcus Jones. Look at that.
Hey, Fallon building. All right, brother. You just missed it, man.
Just missed it.
Yeah. So tripped over himself there. Otherwise, would have scored. Really would have put the game out of the way.
Hey, Lavelle, you've been doing some math over there. 168-0 last 3 years versus Ray. That's a
Oh wow. Yeah.
crazy stat. I didn't even know
Hey,
that.
and there's Marky Gonzalez. Mark, I hope you got to see your little spotlight there, Mark. We love it. We love the interaction, guys, and we love to highlight you guys. That's the
3-0,
whole point of being
3-0.
here, right? Is to show you guys. Yep, 3-0, 3-0. Saw a couple of town folks in here as well, so that was pretty cool.
And
Um,
I had taken some, before we move on right to the middle segment of the show, I'd kind of seen some noteworthy games here, and I don't know if you took them down, but I'm going to rip them off real quick.
okay.
Beeville, 47-14 over Bishop, and that bumped them up to being ranked number 9 in state in D2, right?
Yeah. So
Big
Bishop,
time.
Bishop was kind of going somewhere for a bit. What do you make of them now?
I don't know. I don't know what to believe of Bishop right now. I need to look more into them. To be honest with you, it's just they've kind of. I think they come against some good competition right now. Beeville's playing some pretty good ball. They got a great coach over there, Coach Sosa. So he's got those guys moving the ball. And hey, it might be making Bishop tougher as they move into district play soon.
Yeah, and they are another move up for a D2, right? Coming up from 381.
Then we got Refugio 40 over Edna 22, which was a huge win for the Bobcats.
That was a big win.
So muscle a little bit.
So I'm gonna pull this up real quick. We've got the Perez report, right? We've got our here, let me see, let me find it here. We've got our Refugio Connect here. So when we said it week 1, right? They kind of went to a power I, right, to try to ball control and do these things. And they lost, right? But they lost to a very good squad, a very good 3A squad, right? Who's in a district with a potential hipster pick state champion in Columbus, right? So it's a tough district, right? So they went back to spreading it out a little bit more. Edna, big team, fast team, but the defense for Refugio was flying around to the ball. Kellen Brown was able to spread the ball around pretty well in play action and in the pocket. Yeah, the gunslinger. If you guys follow, he's a good follow on Twitter. The first half was pretty close, but the second half, it was just a matter of Herring doing his thing, right? Made his adjustments to the half and put the boys in the best position to win. So, man, after kind of scratching your head a little bit on Refugio, how they performed week 1, I think they're kind of right back in stride.
Yeah, right? Peak performance coming on strong for the district run.
Yep. So Edna,
it's a good district.
So Jamarcus comes from Mississippi. Wow, that's a ways to come, man. Wow, welcome. So another one. Actually, that's our guy is here. So let's jump into that right now. So this is kind of our game of the week for this week, right? There's a couple, Cal Allen Cuero, and this one I may be going to. I have to work Saturday, so we'll see if I'm going to make the road trip. But another battle of unbeatens, Beeville and Somerset, and for that we're bringing in the Somerset expert. This is Robbie Chavez from Robbie CTV. If you guys, we've mentioned him a lot on the show. If you're not following South Central Texas football on Twitter, on TikTok, give him a follow. The guy's very plugged in on what's going on down there. Robbie, how's it going?
It's going good, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, not bad, man. Sorry to keep you waiting, man. It just took longer than we thought. Spud's trying to get his stuff working, and
dude,
man, it was a big mess, dude.
Yeah, no, it's cool, man.
So Rob's like I said, Rob's the Somerset expert. He's plugged into what's going on down there. What can you tell us about Somerset?
Well, I'm sure since you follow me, you've heard some of the rumors and seen it. I mean, Somerset has a gigantic offensive line. I mean, they are literally anchored. It's really unusual to see someone like Somerset or somebody in the area with a line of just that size. Of course, you got guys like Philip Gallegos. Gallegos is about 6'8". We call him the gigantic Hispanic because he's huge, man. He anchors that line. And of course, you got guys like Aiden Guetta on the line, who's 6'3", Cantu 6'1", Jaramillo is 6'3", and there's of course Philip Gallegos right there. Vasquez is 5'9". So that line is a huge line, and as you can see, like I said, Gallegos right there, he's a tank, man. And these guys, they move people. Whenever I've watched film on them, if you watch them, the example I make whenever I'm explaining, because they're really something in the area. Usually you get skill position players that get a lot of notoriety, but Somerset's line is so big, you get asked by people, hey, how's Somerset's line? Other players, coaches, people. And I'll say, like I said, the example that I make is it's like being at a bowling alley. You watch Somerset's linemen dig in. And when they dig in and search forward, the example I can make is it looks like when a bowling ball hits the pins. You know, you could have a good line and you drive in on them, but they drive low and they pop you up. They pop every defense I've seen. They popped up and they search forward, and of course, they get yards. Easily.
So Beeville's a team we were kind of sketch about, right? Because we everything we heard about sitting week one, they were losing a lot. Kids weren't playing this year. A lot of kids focused on baseball, graduation. You lose the Galvan twins and a lot of other senior guys to graduation. So it was a rebuild mode, right? And Beeville skirts out with 28 or 48 yards of offense in a win over Sitton, right? And man, they've come on since then. 500 yards the next week, I think, offense, almost that, and 350, 400 this last week.
So I did some side notes on this as well. Beeville's offense, they're averaging 36 points per game. Defense is allowing 12 points per game. On the flip side, Somerset's averaging 33 points per game. Defense is allowing 12 points per game. So these two are matching up very well. Now, I haven't seen Beeville really in person. I've only seen a little bit of clips and stuff, out there. But that could be the difference maker if that offensive line from Somerset is the real deal, like you say, Robbie. I mean, that could be everything.
Right, a long day for that Beeville defensive front.
Well, I think what's interesting too, though, is like when you look at scores. For instance, Somerset scored on about 6 offensive possessions on Highlands and cut it early. So they could have scored more as well. And then in this last game against Floresville, it was 35-7, and Somerset pulled out their starters with about 9 minutes left in the game, where it could have been more points as well. As a matter of fact, they've scored 6 possessions on Highlands, 5 possessions on Floresville, but they scored on 2 possessions against Southside. And Southside, to me, is a really good team as well. And I thought that was a good test for both squads. And I will say this, they got guys like, if you look at the running backs for Somerset has like a 3-headed monster. They use guys like Julian Avila, Jacob Alcorta, Josiah Lugo this week for Somerset scored 4 touchdowns and threw a 2-point conversion. And, so they use a BB of backs. They got guys like a Jaden Foz who runs like a 4.40, number 7. He's fast. They got Ty Denton on the outside. So they have a lot of weapons. They run a variation of that West Coast offense, and they will move you down the field. They got a new quarterback, Kobe Isbell. He's getting into the system, and I think he's actually getting better by the week. Of course, Somerset beat Beeville last year. So maybe Bevo's looking for a little bit of revenge, but people thought that about Southside too, and Somerset was able to put down their rival two years in a row. So,
I'm getting kind of high on Somerset the more Robbie talks. Be honest with you,
I know, man. You should sell cars, Robbie. I mean, you got me sold. Well, oh, go ahead, Rob.
Well, what I will say is, from looking at Somerset and Southside, to me, they look like they're on pace to have some historic seasons. I think that these two teams, I don't really expect Southside to lose much the rest of the way. And Somerset, of course, they got Beeville. Beeville's a quality team. That's somebody that Somerset wants to beat, but Somerset is still looking for a marquee win, win against somebody like Bernie, to see, where they fit in. But I do think these teams, especially Somerset, has a chance to get in the playoffs, and they got a chance to make a deep run. When you got an offensive line that big, it allows you to control possession. Even if you were to have an offense that was explosive, if you can control time of clock, you're going to be dangerous. And not to mention, Somerset's got a quality defense too. Romeo Faz is back there. He's got about 4 interceptions in 3 games. You got Solis on the line. You got several quality players. So this team is well coached. And I will say this too. We look at teams about how they're built attitude-wise, right? Their conditioning, right? Somerset, just like kind of like a Southside team, they are built with strong conditioning and technique. So even if you hang with them early, it's like 2 boxers. As the fight goes on, the one with the best conditioning and technique begins to wear the other one out. And Somerset is very capable with that offensive line of wearing you down throughout the game.
Well, you got me sold.
I think you sold. I'm going to the game. I got to work Saturday morning, but I'm going to go. I got to see these guys because that's probably the only time I'm going to see them this season until the playoffs. Speaking of the playoffs, right, in Somerset's district, they are 4AD1, so this Beeville team could see them again in the playoffs, depending which way it goes. If they're win
for a marquee win, this is where you start, right? They're number 9 ranked Beeville 3-0.
14-4AD1, Fredericksburg, Somerset, and Uvalde is in this district. Right, so Uvalde surprising 3-0 as well, right? And they've got you. Everybody knows what's going on with that team. Fredericksburg was in the region finals last year. They beat Cal Allen, didn't they? Am I wrong? Or it was a Pleasanton that beat Cal Allen?
No, that's fair.
No,
It was
Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
Fredericksburg.
So I mean, that's a tough district, man. And Cal Allen could run into these guys, right?
And
Some
the
are
thing,
these.
well, if you look at last year too, Somerset went toe to toe with Fredericksburg. Somerset had
Yeah.
Fredericksburg on the ropes and kind of lost it late. So this is a team, you know, they did lose receivers like Jackson Gutierrez. They lost guys like Todd Jones, and they lost Cole Detmer at quarterback. But Kobe Isbell stepped in, you know, and like I said, a young Jaden Foz who got the most touches he's ever gotten in the game last week. You know, these guys, Julian Avila was one of the running backs, and Foz were on the sprint relay team for Somerset that clicked like a 41-5 and tied for the state championship in the sprint relay. So when you're moving, not only do you have an offensive line like that, but when you got skill position players that are that quick, this is an abnormal type of Somerset team. They got a combination that you just haven't seen in a while. And, you know, they've made a couple of runs before where they've went 3 rounds deep. And to me, this looks like pretty much their best team ever. So with that information, you know, that's what we're looking at. But like, as I say, it's a long season. So, you know, they're through three weeks. Beeville's going to be a test. We've seen Beeville's beat Sinton. So we'll see how the game goes this upcoming Friday.
Well, I'm sold. I'm taking Somerset. Right, you sold me, Robbie. I had Bevo on a close one. I'm going to flip the script. I'm going to take Somerset.
I think so, man. I was going to go with Beeville too, but I think you've convinced me, man. So you've obviously done your homework on them. Beeville's kind of on the fringes of where we're covering, so everything we're getting from them is just kind of reading.
Bevo wins this game. I'll be pretty impressed. I think.
Yeah.
Based off, I'm giving a lot of credit to Robbie here, but we know Robbie, and he's never lied to us like on this type of knowledge. So
I will tell you what. I was at the Floresville Somerset game, and Somerset came out a little sleepwalking in that game. You know, they came off that rivalry game with Southside in the Battle 1604, and they came out a little quiet. When they got going, they went on practically a 35-0 run. But of course, I would expect this week that they come out more aggressive because that was kind of a wake-up call. They were down at the half to Floresville 7-6 before they outscored them the rest of the way. And like I said, though, you know, Somerset was capable of hanging 42 or 49 points in that second half. So they do have a gear, but they obviously got to be focused. And I think, you know, some of these games have prepared them, like last week for the upcoming road game against Beeville.
And it's going to be tough. That stadium's going to be full. I mean, that's why they call it home field advantage, right? Veterans Stadium, Veterans Field, Veterans Stadium. I think that's what it's called. It's going to be packed, man. So it's going to be a great environment. I think just everything off you're telling me and just thinking about the environment, I think I will head out there Friday night.
Hey, and Beeville's a tough out, man. Beeville's a tough road game. People have known when Beeville's got good teams, it is not easy to go down to Beeville and win.
Yeah. Yeah. And Souza's got all kinds of tricks up his sleeve. So we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. Robbie, since we have you on, let's go ahead and talk about our next one. And that's going to be GP Bernie, right? So let's before we go any further, let's back up a little bit. You know, if Spud, fill everybody in case they haven't noticed on what's happening with the GP quarterback situation.
Oh man. So I mean, I think it's the whole Coastal Bend knew, right? GP lost their returning senior and Brandon Redden, right? Horrible leg injury, week 1 against Cal Allen, but which then I think everyone went kind of panic mode, right? Because then they bring in Colton Harrison, who's really one of our best receivers, kind of tight ends on our roster, right? So now we were down 2 guys in that Cal Allen game, but what they don't realize was the fact that Reed had played his JV game the night before. So then he stepped on the field these last 2 weeks. And then, you know, the first week I was super impressed with him, what he did against Carroll. But then last week against some, I would say, a more athletic team in Victoria East, he came out and he was 17 to 20, 293, 6 touchdowns in the air. And if you combine the stats over the last 2 weeks, he's plus 400 yards in the air. I believe he's around 9 touchdowns thrown. And he's like 30 of 36. He's making a lot of good decisions. He's a sophomore. He's over 6 foot. He's got good size on him. He's not a typical, you know, scrawny sophomore. He's not a gigantic kid either, but he's got very good size. He's got a lot of poise in the pocket, and he's making. To me, the thing that stands out to me is not only is the arm talent there. If you watch his highlights, places the ball in front of his receivers, but he also is just making really good decisions with the ball. Right. Sometimes young quarterbacks come in and they start forcing stuff when it starts breaking down around them, and I haven't seen him do that once. So, you know, this is a good test for him against Bernie this week, but here's a little bit of his highlights, and Reed's doing an outstanding job at GP. He's one of our outstanding players of the week this week.
And you were at this game, Justin. So I mean, kind of tell us what was happening here. I mean, just break it down for a little bit, just as a recap of what was going on.
Right here, this was a huge play right here to Colton Harrison. Colton Harrison did a lot of the work with his legs there. Of course, he's a tremendous athlete, but we were going back and forth with this Victoria East team. They had an outstanding quarterback. So these possessions weren't, hey, we're up 28-0. We have some cushion to get dicey here. We were taking shots. I mean, so that play right there, I think was like 3rd and 8. Took a shot down the field, made a heck of a throw. Receiver Dubose capitalized on it. This one, I believe, goes to Hartley. It was another big 3rd down play as well for us, if I'm correct. Ended up being a nice touchdown. He threw right in front of the defender. Hartley made a great play on that ball. But it's this next throw right here that really stuck out to me. This was kind of the icer for the game, right? This has got us up 2 scores late in the game, but puts a nice pass where only the defender can make a play on it in the back of the end zone. Of course, you say the receiver makes that play, but you have to make that throw. You underthrow that defensive back's got that ball going the other way. And then right there, another, super sophomore in our tight end, Sean Williams. He's going to be a bright spot as well. So we lost Hartley on a broke his leg, kind of a fluke injury the other night. So we lost a receiver, but we got some kids coming up, and unfortunate for Nick, but Reed's doing an outstanding job, and very proud of him and what he's done so far for GP.
So GP they have Bernie this week. Little Bernie, like you like to call him, Robbie. What can you tell us about this number 4 ranked Bernie squad?
This squad, of course, like talking about Somerset, Bernie's got a huge offensive line. They got guys like Jacob McLaughlin, Sam Waters. They got at least 4 or 5 guys that have interest from Division I schools, so they have a big line. With that said, though, they are young at certain positions. Starting quarterback Jackson Bays, he's just a sophomore. So this is his first year running the quarterback position, and then you got Braden Bays at running back, who runs very well, number 7. They can strike you. Bernie, of course, like we talk about, they're one of the better programs. They don't rebuild, they reload, obviously. They're one of those. So they have a good squad. I mean, I was there at the Flower Bluff game. I thought, depending on what your point of view is, I thought Bernie was kind of in between levels. They would move the notch up, the gear, and then they kind of relax, and Bluff would kind of come back. And I did see some holes in Bernie's secondary that, Flower Bluff has a young quarterback themselves, making his first start on the road, just a sophomore. I felt that he missed some throws that could have possibly put them over the edge. So, in high school football, you don't like to judge football scores game to game because, you can get in trouble when you're going down the rabbit hole there. So we seen that obviously they beat Bluff 35-32, and then Bluff lost 40-7 to Cal Allen, and then Gregor Portland was obviously, with a backup quarterback, more competitive against Cal Allen. So take from it what you want from there. I do think Bernie has a solid squad, but they could be inconsistent by the week just because of the fact that they're young. But the fact that they have the offensive line of that size means that they're going to be in most games, even if they were to make mistakes with the young guys.
It's a solid take on Bernie. I mean, everything that you said, though, is pretty spot on with what I was thinking in this game as well. I think it's a good measuring stick for Reed, really, to see where he's progressing as a quarterback, right? Because, like you said, Bernie's a good squad. They got good athletes everywhere. It's a good test for the defensive line. We have, Khalid Goldsby's a pretty good defensive end. He's usually been a game changer in some of the aspects of our game. So I agree with you on that. This game last year, GP was actually up. I think we were up 21-7 or 21-0 at one point. Ended up blowing it in the second half. And then if you look back on it, this was kind of the defining moment where that team kind of kicked in the extra gear and it was like, hey, we can do this. And they went on, they ripped off a run, which ended all the way up into the late stages of the playoffs. But this was really the defining moment last year for GP when they played Bernie. This time last year, I think it was our second game of the year, though, then on, just what they can be and what they can do. And I think they grew up after blowing that first half lead. I think it also kind of shocked them that they were up in that first half, to be honest with you. And then they're kind of like, just kind of stalled out, So I do think this is going to be a great matchup. Of course, I'm going to be in East Texas watching Gilmer and Lindell, of course. This is giving me in my own backyard, so it kind of stings leaving the area for when I got a good matchup like this in the backyard. But I will be keeping close tabs on it as the night progresses.
So Bernie is also in this 14-4A D1 district. So that is a tough district, man.
Tough district.
Yep. So we'll be seeing them again, one of these teams, maybe even both in the playoffs of some of our local teams. Rob, we just got a couple things to go over. You can stick around or you can go, man. You look like you're in the back of a equipment room or something.
All right,
I don't know what's going
I'm
on.
gonna cut out, guys, but I'll see y'all. I'm sure I'll be on the show again, and I'm sure I'll run into y'all soon. And let me know if you go to that Bevo Somerset game, Jake.
We'll do, because our boy Strunk's down there. If you guys, we love Coach Strunk, man.
Love him.
He was out at Port Isabel for a while, South Texas football coach, and then moved up to Mansfield, PA, I think, right? Manfield's High or something. I don't remember. He was an athletic director up there, and then need to come back to Texas. I mean, who doesn't want to come back, right? And ended up landing the Somerset job as the AD there, not the head coach. The head football coach is still Coy Detmer. They have a separate AD up there that is just the administrator, and that's what Strunk is. So it'd be good to get out and see him. He said he's making the road trip down there. So one more incentive to go. Rob, are you going?
I'm not sure yet, and if I don't go, I might send a cameraman. So I'll let you know.
Wow,
Okay.
look at you,
Again,
Rob.
I know. Look at him, man.
Samsung Galaxy now as a cameraman. Look at this
I
guy.
know. Rob, you want to give another your shout out again where the people can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on South Central Texas Football on TikTok. You just put it in there, Robbie CTV on TikTok. Same thing on Instagram. Twitter's a little bit different. It's Revenge of the Fourth. But I will tell y'all, today we did set a record. We actually won a Somerset lineman, the 6'3" Hadamil. He got the Battle of 1604 trophy thrown to him, and he almost dropped it. So he made this crazy face. We put it on Instagram. That thing went for over 1 million views and is at like 300K likes. So that's a record for Instagram for us. So if y'all want to check it out, it's on there.
Oh, that's not the other video you sent, was it?
No, it's not, but it's
okay.
But if you go check it out, it's on South Central Texas Football, but it's kind of difficult to hit 1 million views on Instagram, man. Instagram's a tough
that's
out.
A lot. Yeah.
So to do it on Instagram is big. So y'all check that out. It was good being with y'all tonight. Like I said, I'm sure I'll see y'all down the road. Like always, y'all be safe, and thanks for having me on the show.
All right, thanks, Rob. Thanks for coming on, man. We
Please,
appreciate it.
Bye.
This guy, dude.
I know, dude. He's everywhere, man.
Wow.
All right, so just to wrap up real quick, couple of games of interest that are going on. We talked Sinton, Edna. You know, I'm interested to see how Sinton stacks up, right? Because just like we said about Cal Allen, we really haven't got a good take on Sinton yet, right?
I took Sinton in my pick this week because I just think they're gonna slightly edge out Edna's offense. To be honest with you, I think that defense from Sinton will do just enough to slow up Edna and take this one. They match up extremely well, though. To me, though, the defense of Edna is giving up a little bit more points than Sinton is right now. But of course, their offense is putting up a little bit more than Sinton is. So I think this is a big matchup. You know, 2-1, 2-1. Definitely another one if you're in that area to go make this game, because Sinton's gonna need all the fans they can out there, because Edna has a really good following with their group of guys. So I think it's gonna be a tight one, but I'm gonna take Sinton's defense slightly edging out Edna in this one.
I think I'm going to take Edna, man. Like I said, I'm not really sold on Sinton yet. This is the game for me to see if what Sinton really is.
And the other side note is Jimmy Mitchell, right? Isn't he originally? Didn't he come from Sinton? He played at Sinton.
He was a Sinton coach. I don't know if he was a head coach or not, but the hometown heavy hitter Carson Cave,
there he is.
is a big fan, right? The only reason he's not going to that one is because he's going to be in Houston. So you guys are going to miss the Carson Cave sighting. And you guys go in there to sit, and he's like a Sasquatch, man. Very elusive out there. Very elusive. Another fun one: Orange Grove, Rockport, Fulton. You know, that should be
2-1, Rockport 1-2.
I think it should be good with two good quarterbacks going at it, right? You got Mark Lopez over there and Ace Seibert.
Yeah, you know, Orange Grove offense is averaging 26 points a game. Defense is allowing 20 points per game. On the flip side, Rockport averaging 25 points per game. Defense allowing 36 points per game. So there's the glaring negative, right? The defense. Which I think we know Jay, he's going to work on those guys. They come off a huge win, and his opinion for that locker room. So I'm going to keep rolling with Rockport in this one. I'm going to take them, and I just think it's based off them playing a tougher schedule right now than Orange Grove. And I'm going to be rolling with the Pirates in this one again.
Yep. So and then we've got Flower Bluff and Alice.
This is a big.
That should be a good one as well, right? I guess Cutter had a very good game last week against Victoria West. I think ran for a couple touchdowns. Yes. Right? Or one. He had one or two, but the key word there is ran. Right? Yep. The big question was on his knee, right? Is he hurt? Is he not hurt? Is he going to be okay? He's running on it. I don't know how far those runs exactly were. But
that's what I highlighted in this one, right? I took Alice in this one. I don't think the Bluffs offense is going to be capable of moving the ball really against Alice's defense right now. Not saying they're not going to put points. Just don't think that they're going to have enough to overcome what I think I'm pretty high on the Alice defense, to be honest with you.
It could be a
defensive game. Could be buying into blood sports medicine, but I'm high on Alice's defense. I saw them for about half of a game against Vets. I think they're a good. I think they're sound. They're sound. But my big highlight was Alice offense depends on Cutter's health.
Yep.
If he's healthy, this is a good Alice team. If he comes out and he looks like he did against Vets, it's worrisome, right? Because he can't make the throws that he's used to making. So I took Alice in this one. I think the defense is doing enough that's going to keep Flower Bluff off the scoreboard, just enough to beat him. So
I think it's going to be a defensive game because Bluff's defense they're ready to play. They can play. They held Cal Allen that first half until Cal Allen did their Cal Allen thing. So I think it's going to be a defensive game. I think it's going to be close, but I think I'll give the edge to Flower Bluff. I think they've got they've got just as many athletes. I'm telling you, that Dixon kid is very good.
I like Dixon.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. And then lastly, TM at West Oso. TM's got a very stingy defense right now, and West Oso's got an offense that's playing as hot as fish grease right now. Right.
So when I match this one up, right, 2-1 TM, 1-2 West Oso. West Oso 49 points per game, allowing on the defensive side 39. Defense side lacking. Offense on TM though 14 points per game, not very impressive. Defense allowing only 6 points per game though. So here's my pick on it. I took TM. I think their defense is going to hold West Oso back, right? I think they're going to have them in check enough to keep the Bears at bay. And I think they have a little bit more offensive production. I think this is going to be probably TM's biggest offensive production to date this year. So I'm going to take the Warriors over West Oso. I think they played a little bit tougher of opponents. They got 2 quality wins over Moody and King. You know, Moody and King, it's still big boy ball, right, up in that level. So I'm gonna roll with the Warriors this week.
Yeah, I think I'm with you in as well. Yeah, you're right, Anthony. Elijah Huff is very tough. He won the 3A Texas Football Player of the Week.
Yeah, I put Elijah Huff down on Outstanding Players of the Week. We didn't get no highlights off him, but 301 yards and 4 touchdowns. So Elijah Huff's been making some noise. Do not let that go unnoticed. I do think he's one of the better running backs
300 he had the week before.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's putting up a very good season this early. But guys, I think that's it. We're going for about an hour and a quarter.
Hang on, I had notables around the bend, and we don't got to really go into depth on these, but these are just some area games that people.
Okay.
If it's your fan base and you want to check it out, right? We touched on GP versus Bernie. I didn't think we were going to get into that, but we did. That turned out to be a good one. Robstown Taft tomorrow night. Go check it out. 3-0 Robstown versus 1-2 Taft. A Taft team that should be 3-0, mind you. I think.
Yeah.
Refugio versus Bishop. See what Bishop can bring against this table of Refugio, and we'll see what kind of offense Refugio rolls out this week. Is it going to be a wing team?
I think I saw a prediction of 56-0 Refugio on the chat feed.
Sounds about right. Falfurrias versus Aransas Pass. Can Aransas Pass build off that one win, or is Falfurrias going to keep rolling? I'm probably going to roll the jerseys on that one.
I think so too. 4-0
for sure. Odom versus San Diego.
Oh man, that's going to be a tough one. You know, like I said before, and we've said it, there was a good chance that Odom could be 0-4 heading into the district, or 3-1, or 2-2.
RJ Valera, our boy out there, is killing it right now.
Yeah, man. I think he had about 600 yards total offense last week.
Exactly.
Right? About 200 on the ground, 300 something in the air. So yeah, I mean, he's doing just what he was supposed to do. Right? They're not missing a big beat by losing Hector over to Alice, so they're still plugging along.
And then we touched on Banquetti and Three Rivers, so I won't get into that one. And the last one I had for Around the Bend was George West versus Mathis. So this is 2-1 Mathis, and George West is what, 1-2 right now?
1-2.
Win over Skidmore Tynan right now, and then lost London and OG.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with Trey and the Pirates, dude. I think I'm gonna take
Cardiac
Pirates.
Kids, huh? That's what they're being called right now. The Cardiac Kids.
They're overcoming some good adversity in these games. So a lot of good games this week, though, for real. If you have a chance to make it out, people ought to get involved, right? It's the cheapest ticket in town for the best fun on town on Friday night or Thursday night. So go check it out.
Yep. Let us know how the concession stand is, because we lost our concession stand guy. Man, he could have been huge.
Could have been huge.
I mean, he is huge, but he could have been even bigger. Guys, again, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. And, check in during the week, man. Hit us up with a message. Send us your highlights. We got something special going on in the works right now. We would have debuted it this week. We ran out of time this week, but we've got something special coming up. Send in your highlights. Linemen, we also sent this challenge out during the week as well. Who wants to make a video, right? We got a little challenge thing that we want to set with these lineman videos, right? So reach out to us, guys, coaches, linemen. Get your lineman group together. If you guys want to do something with us, let's do it. It's going to be something quick, nothing crazy, not a whole lot of production.
Improv.
Probably take about 10 minutes, honestly. But we'll head out there. We'll do something fun, man. Coach, you're like 20 minutes late. We spent a whole segment on Foul
Come on,
Furious.
Mondo.
You need,
Come on,
I
Mondo.
know, man. Come on, dude. Come on. All right, guys. Again, thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week. There may be an emergency pod this weekend. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But we could pop up in the middle of the night sometime. We'll see what happens. Thanks, guys. Take it easy. Wait a minute. Hang on. Such an